Finally, they are back. There's so much to unravel in this episode. Firstly, they finally listened to the fans and got back to the action. People are entirely too short with their attention spans anymore not to have something exciting happen every single episode. Thanks, Jujutsu Kaisen. Anyways, so let's jump directly back into it with my main man Nolan taking over his secondary planet. Now, we all know that the Viltrimites are here to conquer, and that's what Nolan did. We actually do get to see a different side of Omni-Man that we haven't seen since early season 1. He shows his humility and some of his human side. He set out to do what he had to do on Earth, and when Mark became of age, he needed him to fulfill his duty as a Viltrumite. As we all saw, Mark is wanting to be a good human and just live his life. After the ass whooping Mark put on his son, aka Invincible, he decided not to kill every being on Earth. And he hit the cosmos. It was kind of depressing. He was flying aimlessly throughout space. He knew that he failed his Earth mission and the Viltrumites would definitely be on the lookout for him. Now, this is important because we know that this shows that Omni-Man isn't as evil and demonic as we thought. He has somewhat of a heart and love for others. That stuck with me for the remainder of this episode, and I think it's really important. So, as he's flying millions of miles away into the galaxy, he sees a ship that is essentially about to wreck into a black hole, and he saves him. So that shows more humanity in him. He then turns around to leave, and the alien bug species wants him to stay. He takes a double take and ends up becoming their conqueror/leader. And he does stay on their planet. And after he stays on their planet, see, this is the part with the cheekiness why I validated Invincible as an anime. This man, Nolan, wastes no time. And he pulls up and gets him a pair of bullet ant cheeks and puts a young'un up inside of her. It's pure comedy. He doesn't wait. He doesn't care. He comes back. He's their conqueror. He starts beating up bullet ant cheeks, and he has a kid. But in all seriousness, he does have to conquer another planet, and I'm thinking that he hopes that the Viltrumites spare him. Or is he really just on demon time? Regardless, the whole entire time, Mark is sitting there in awe when Omni-Man is unleashing his second life upon him. They continue to bicker back and forth, and Omni-Man and Mark, he gives him an ultimatum. He knows that if the Viltrumites pull up, every single alien is catching all the free smoke. He knows that whole planet will be conquered and everyone on there will be murdered. So all of this stuff is happening with Mark and Omni-Man. Omni-Man showing him his new life. And everything is happening so fast, especially in these back-to-back episodes. And then the rumbling begins. The 3 Viltrumites that murdered Alan come head first into this colony full of bugs, aka Bug's Life. And Nolan shows his dad face. He looks at his son and says, "Listen, Mark, if you don't quit holding back, they will kill you." That hit me differently because it shows that he is showing his dad's side. And now he is telling Mark he is somewhat of an equal to him and they're able to do battle together. He is telling Mark that he needs his help in order to save this planet and to defeat the 3 Viltrumites. Fast forward halfway in, halfway out, we see the big 3 do what they do best, and they're just evaporating bugs left and right like a can of Axe spray. Nolan has some PTSD going on during this. He grabs Mark by his throat. He grabs his firstborn, and he states, "Why do I care? Why do I continue to save these weak beings?" Again, in my opinion, this is very important because we see that humanity has actually had a impact on Omni-Man and somewhat made him soft. And of course, being the chosen one and the conqueror of Earth, that isn't allowed. It is not allowed to be soft in the Viltrumite culture. It's just pure chaos and anarchy the entire time, and this is what we need. This is exactly what we wanted in episode 4. So, switching back over to Invincible, we finally see from his POV the entire fight that is going on. He's fighting the Sindel wannabe, and he finally unleashes his true power. And I ain't gonna lie, it doesn't matter. She's a Viltrumite. She's an OG Viltrumite. She is putting the hands on him like a masseuse, and he realized this isn't Earth. This isn't for your honor. You can't be a good guy. And you have to beat her into submission. You must kill her. We know this is another hard challenge for Mark, and inevitably he's going to pay the price. He has to beat her, okay? That's the only way. He gets her, grabs her by her neck, and all of a sudden she whips her hair around and slices him in the abdomen. He is lying there, bleeding out, and in an emotional climax, he yells out for his dad. This part is very emotional, and we get to see the true humanity in Nolan. After all that shit he was talking, after all the destruction and chaos that he caused on Earth, When Mark calls out for his dad, of course he comes. No one comes through and finishes the job in typical brute Omni-Man fashion. We believe they have finally held off the Viltrimites to the third member of the Big Three, who hadn't been completely killed, comes out of nowhere, kicks Omni-Man in his back, and paralyzes him. The screen is black and white. It's flickering and fading in and out, and that's from Mark's POV. We see that he's coming in and out of consciousness. We finally see the Viltrumite ship come to pick up Omni-Man and all the dead soldiers that Invincible and Omni-Man had defeated. We then get a small glimpse of what's going to happen. It's a little foreshadowing, and I'm not going to lie, it's daunting. One of the OG Viltrumites come over to Mark, who is currently bleeding out, and gives Mark his new objective. Legit, the worst thing that could happen to Mark does happen. His dad's being hauled off, and this OG Viltrumite with one eye, he has nothingness behind his eyes. He looks Mark in his eyes and says, "Your dad will be executed. You will be Earth's new conqueror. You must kill a few humans per quarter, or we will come and we will kill the humans by the millions." Now, looking in hindsight, we may look at Omni-Man's killing as brutal, but honestly, in my opinion, he was truly fulfilling his obligation the most humane way possible. For a savage, that is. The ultimatum just adds to Mark's overfilling plate and slowly pushes him to what I believe will be his breaking point. It's crazy. It's great. I'm glad they came back on this episode with some craziness. We're over at 115 subs. Go ahead and like, subscribe. Tell me what you thought about episode 4. I am looking forward to the rest of this series. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to keep these coming out week by week. It's DT the Vlogger Kid. Follow me at IDT Burdette, Threads, IG. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Holla at you next time.